Hello, this is Nneka, and welcome to part 5 of AI in Education, What the Research Really Says. In this video, I'm going to discuss the 4 findings related to the second question from my research study, which resulted in my dissertation. And this question related to the lived experiences of teachers with regards to professional development opportunities focused on artificial intelligence in education that would support implementation in learning environments, focused on K through 12. And the reason that I'm going to talk about all 4 findings in this video, as opposed to the first 4 videos when I kind of broke down the findings from the first question, is because for the first question, it was interesting to note when you had kind of that more teacher facing and how it impacted them when they were talking about what they were experiencing as far as their own experiences with using AI tools versus how students, how they were interacting with students who were using AI tools versus how they were, staying up to date on artificial intelligence. And so I thought that those 4 findings were so distinctive that it was important to kind of separate them. In this case, when it comes to professional development, the findings are very interrelated, even though there are some distinctions between them. And so I think it's important to discuss them collectively. So, because to start, the first finding is that teachers had experiences of not having professional development related to artificial intelligence available, or when it was available, there were minimal offerings, or those offerings didn't meet their needs. And again, even though my study is more than 2 years old at this point, one of the reasons I wanted to create this set of videos is because many of the findings are still true to this day. And so if you're an educator watching this video, it may seem there's going to be a couple of different camps. If you're really into the AI and education space, you're going to think there's artificial intelligence everywhere. I see it all the time. If you are someone that's part of an organization that addresses or focuses on artificial intelligence, you may think of things like, hey, well, 26 states, I think at this point, have adopted AI, types of guidelines and guidance for educators. So, how is it still true that professional development opportunities are minimal? But remember, this is the lived experiences of teachers. This is what they're saying. And even again, if there are opportunities, those opportunities aren't necessarily meeting what teachers feel their needs are. So a district may have some type of option available, but it's not aligned with what the teacher thinks that they need. So there are many cases and many things that teachers addressed in terms of their lived experiences, but ultimately they felt that they are still minimal. And I feel that that research still bears out in the conversations that I'm having even to this day. And so what happens when, you're not able from your districts or regional, kind of education center, get the PD that you feel that you need to implement artificial intelligence successfully in your classrooms and in your learning environments? Well, the second finding showed that many of the PD opportunities that teachers sought were often self-initiated by the teacher. They lived their we're not getting this experience, and so we're going to self-initiate. We're going to go online and find something virtual. We're going to seek out the opportunities, whether it's at, separate organization that's offering them. If it's a webinar, whatever we need to do, we're going to do it on our own. And so I found that as we look at the findings, definitely interesting. The teachers felt that they needed to be in a position, but that they're still going to do what they feel that they need to do in the absence of support otherwise. And I know that there's 2 ways, to look at it, but I think it's important at this point also to talk about the concerns-based adoption model, which I did use as a part of this study. And with the concerns-based adoption model, you do look at the levels of concern when it comes to teachers and and the adoption cycle of, some type of educational technology. In this case, it was artificial intelligence. And so when you think about those levels of concern and a teacher feeling like I have some level of knowledge and I want to learn more, it kind of aligns with the concerns-based adoption model, also called CBAM. But it also, what I think is important is that in the absence of the district initiatives, they are taking action. And why it is interesting is because CBAM is usually focused on when a district has decided to, bring in some type of educational technologies, and teachers don't necessarily have an option in this adoption of this technology. And so this leads, and the reason I talk about this is because this is leading into the third finding, which is that when districts did provide, artificial intelligence professional development, or they aligned or invested in professional development for teachers to take outside of the district, the number one kind of person or entity that teachers relied on were colleagues, the proverbial teacher down the hall. Even beyond a district, like if you have a district PD department or things like that, the teachers are going and, nodding their head, and they're getting the knowledge and they're appreciative, obviously, of that professional development. But when it came to application and troubleshooting and all of the necessary things that kind of derive from professional development, they relied on the teacher down the hall. And it's interesting because we all know those teachers, if you've been in education long enough, the ones that have all of the information, they know how to do tech like no one's business. And so it was an interesting finding to see that not only is there a recognition of them on an individual level, like I said, we all know that teacher, but that collectively teachers, and remember the teachers that were a part of the study came from multiple states, multiple grade levels, but this was a thread of experience of a finding that they were relying on their fellow teachers to help them, and felt that that was a professional development experience. And when it comes to professional development, the fourth finding is that teachers experienced geographical and also financial barriers to obtaining the professional development they felt that they needed for artificial intelligence implementation in their learning environments. So we all know we may have our favorite conferences or places to go or things to see. But, when you think about the cost for those conferences, when it comes to conference fees in the hundreds of dollars, and hotels and travel and accommodations and, food accommodations, all of the things added up can run into the thousands of dollars. And for your average teacher, that is not affordable. Even when they are local, even the price for admission can be a little too much. And so this is where there are times when districts do support teachers getting the type of professional development in this manner. But there's an issue when it's too far away, or when the district does not have the funding available to support those teachers. And so the fourth finding did address revealed in a way how teachers experienced just the disappointment, the dissatisfaction of feeling like this is something I feel like my students need, but I'm not able to provide the type of education that they want, or I feel that they also need, because of the geographic or financial barriers to me receiving the professional development that I need as a teacher. So again, those four findings related to professional development, I feel are essential for leaders, for other educators to know as they're learning about how to address and work with teachers in their classrooms when it comes to artificial intelligence integration. I do plan to do another video, and it's going to discuss the recommendations from my research study related to artificial intelligence in education. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.